Yeah, well, a couple of things. First of all, I have this sort of issue about circumcision, which from one perspective, it's something which is it's inherently immoral. So like you take a child who is not even aware enough to make a choice about something like that, and you circumcise it because it's its parents' beliefs and so on, and you don't really give the person a choice about it. But so it's immoral in I know this way or another. But on the other end, how can I put this? It's got like more or less pretty formally proven or shown health benefits.
No,
And
not really.
well,
So
maybe not.
there's a study from Africa which has some problematic methodology about potential health benefits, but to the extent that that study might be correct and there might be potential health benefits from circumcision, that doesn't mean that you get the benefit by violating the individual autonomy of an infant and routinely circumcising infants. People can actually take the steps to willfully choose to be circumcised in order to get those benefits. So you can teach the actual science behind it. There's not a health organization in the world that recommends the routine circumcision of children for health benefits, even the ones that would acknowledge that there are some health benefits to being circumcised. You know why? Because infants aren't sexually active.
No, that's actually obvious.
There's no benefit. There's no benefit that couldn't be achieved by wearing a condom when you're an adult and you're sexually active.
Yeah, the studies in portions of Africa, part of the methodology problems has to do with access to condoms and other things. And on occasion you'll hear people talk about how well it's difficult to keep clean. And I have a joke which is true, which is never in the history of the world has it been difficult to get someone who has a penis to keep it clean in the shower, so to speak.
Well, we were talking. We were talking in the last call about taking something you already believe and then rationalizing it after the fact. And I think that's exactly what they've done with circumcision. They want to do circumcision, so they go out in search of what possible health benefits can we find that might justify circumcision in some small way, and then they say, see. This thing that we already do and have wanted to do for hundreds of years is there's a justification for it. So it's backwards. It's the same backwards thing.
When I look at Wikipedia, you talked about specifically the issue of sexually transmitted diseases.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like this practice in Africa to circumcise men so they'll won't propagate AIDS actually. From what you're saying, yes.
Yeah.
There are also
So there's a number. The problems I've already pointed out with that study. Not only their condoms, but actually we're making advances to where there's a pill that you can take, which will dramatically decrease the chance of acquiring HIV.
Yeah, but again, there are several things I find problematic about it in general. That first of all, I was circumcised. With or without choice. So
yeah,
when
me too.
So when somebody comes and talks about like how it affects your sexual satisfaction, and it's like stuff that really bothers me in the sense that like am I missing out on something? Like how can I put this? It's like, was I really maimed? Because it's sentiments that I didn't have before I heard that argument.
It's a difficult conversation to make, and I've heard I know Ron Lindsay suggested that skeptics or secularists shouldn't really worry about routine male circumcision, and I called for him to resign because I think it is something we should worry about. I don't think it's anywhere near the biggest problem in the world. It's certainly I was circumcised. I don't have loads of complaints, partially because I don't have anything to compare it to, but I'm still pissed that my body was altered without my permission. However, I can live the rest of my life and function adequately. That's not the same as what we see with cases of female genital mutilation, where there are severing clitorises and things like that. So we can't put them on even remotely equal footing, apart from saying both of these are civil rights violations where they're wholly unnecessary. They begin for religious purposes. They don't have a sufficient cost-benefit analysis, even if those health condition concerns were legitimate, to justify violating somebody's bodily autonomy. You can just wait, educate, and let somebody make up their own mind later. So we have to be cautious. There's a fallacy that I've pointed out a bunch of times called the fallacy of relative privation, which is when somebody says, "Oh, well, we should only focus on the biggest problem." That problem's not big enough for us to focus on. It's a fallacy, and we should focus on every single problem in reasonable ways that we think we can actually have an effect on. If I've got a flat tire on my truck, it's an immediate problem. There's the triage thing. When there are people coming in war, you go for the ones, there's somebody here who's just going to die. That spending time on this is going to, even if you have a very slim chance of saving them, you're going to lose 20 others. And so you appropriately triage to figure out which ones you can immediately get to stable positions because they may be able to help with others as well. You have that sort of triage with problems as well. The idea that you should only focus on the biggest problem. Oh my gosh, climate change, it's the biggest problem. I agree, it's potentially the biggest problem. But I can't really do anything or can't do much with regard to climate change. I can do some things, but I can do this TV show. I can talk to people about what they believe and why and try to encourage a world that is more secular, more skeptical, and more humanist.
That's obvious. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Again, the issue I had that I thought circumcision had actual, proven health benefits, and that the worst damage from circumcision was apparent when an adult went and done the procedure. So
I've heard people talk about men who got circumcised as adults after being sexually active. Some of them are referred to the experience of sex being in color prior to the circumcision and in black and white afterwards. Now, how much of this is hyperbole? Because quite honestly, I can't imagine it being a whole lot better. Because sex is pretty awesome.
But you don't know what you don't know,
But you don't know what you don't know.
No, but the bottom line is, I'm saying, if you bypass this issue of comparative experiences, like sex before and after circumcision, and you get some other benefits, like reduced chance for prostate cancer or whatever, then it's supposedly better to have a circumcision as an infant,
Why?
But you're saying that
I don't know why the benefits would be better for an infant. But you know what else would reduce that? Just cut the whole thing off.
No, I'm just saying the benefits will be the same whether you went and done circumcision as an infant or as an adult, but the damage, psychological effects and so on, will be much worse as an adult.
I don't necessarily know that that's the case because, first of all, and I don't know that it gives any justification to violate somebody's bodily autonomy. Hey, it would be much less painful if we just go ahead and put 4 piercings in every baby's ear the second they come out of the womb, because they're probably not going to remember. It's not going to be a big deal. And we're pretty sure they're going to want at least one hole in their ear at some point. So we'll just play the odds. Or, it might be better to just, for a while, doctors recommended routinely removing kids' tonsils and things, just, or the appendix is a vestigial organ and might as well just take it out while we're in here. And it turns out that was a little bit of hubris on our part of acting like we knew better. But in the end, I still just can't get behind the idea of violating somebody's bodily autonomy. But on that note, we're up against 6 o'clock. There's one more call I want to get to.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, I don't want to spend the whole back half of the show on circumcision.
We've done whole shows on it.
Yep. The one caller that I was going to go to as the last caller seems to have run away.
Uh-oh.